At 91 years old, Sophia Loren finally broke the silence she had carried for more than half a century. Sitting in her quiet home near Geneva, her voice soft but steady, she spoke George Peppard's name, as if it were a fragile memory she had protected from the world. She remembered his eyes first, sharp, searching, and always hiding something he never dared to say out loud. And as she revealed the truth about the man she once admired, her words carried both affection and sorrow. Why had she kept this story locked away for so long? And what was it about Peppard that haunted her even now, decades after his death? Long before the fame, before the awards and the red carpets, Sophia Loren was a thin, hungry child wandering the broken streets of Pozzuoli after World War II. Born Sofia Villani Ciccolone in 1934, she spent her childhood hiding from air raids, sharing scraps of food with her mother, and dreaming of a life she believed existed somewhere far beyond the ruins. She grew up fast, learning early that survival meant courage, and courage meant believing in something bigger than the world around her. That resilience, forged in fear and forged in fire, would become her greatest gift. At 15, everything changed. She stepped into a local beauty contest with borrowed shoes and quiet determination, never imagining the moment would alter the course of her life. In the crowd stood film producer Carlo Ponti, a man who saw not just her beauty, but the spark behind her eyes. He offered guidance, opportunity, and eventually love. Under his mentorship, she transformed from a shy girl into a woman with purpose, slowly climbing from small film roles to the center of Italy's cinematic revolution. And through every hardship, Carlo stood beside her, a partnership that would evolve into a lifelong devotion. By the 1950s and 60s, Sophia Loren had become a global icon, beloved for both her stunning presence and the emotional depth she brought to every role. Films like The Gold of Naples, Two Women, and Marriage Italian Style solidified her place among the world's greatest performers. When she won the Academy Award in 1961, the first actor ever to win for a foreign language performance, she didn't just make history. She proved that her early suffering, her hunger, her fear, had forged an artist of rare power. But at the height of her fame, another rising star stepped into her orbit, George Peppard. It was the early 1960s. Sophia had already conquered international cinema, while Peppard had just exploded onto the Hollywood scene after Breakfast at Tiffany's. They met at a dinner in Los Angeles, Sophia glowing with effortless charm, George quiet and observant, a man whose pride was as unmistakable as his talent. At first he appeared confident, guarded, almost aloof, but when he spoke, his voice carried both authority and longing. Sophia saw at once what few people ever noticed, that behind the polished features and masculine confidence, lived a man who desperately wanted to be understood. Their connection was immediate, though not romantic. It was something deeper, something rooted in respect, and perhaps recognition. For all his strength, Peppard carried a restlessness that reminded Sophia of the hunger she once felt as a child. He was chasing something he could never quite define, something just out of reach, and what came next would surprise everyone. Working with Peppard, Sophia saw both the brilliance and the torment within him. He was an actor obsessed with perfection. Every line, every gesture, every moment had to be flawless. His dedication inspired her. His intensity exhausted her. When scenes didn't go his way, frustration burned through him like a fuse. Hollywood celebrated him, but he never celebrated himself. Behind the fame, the truth was far darker. Peppard pushed people away at the same time he longed for connection. He fought with studios, argued with directors, and often found himself isolated, despite his rising success. Sophia remembered laughing gently during one of his tense moments, telling him, "George, life is not a battlefield." He smiled, but she knew he didn't believe it. He carried war inside him, a war between ambition and insecurity, pride and vulnerability. The world saw George Peppard as the handsome, charismatic leading man. Sophia saw the contradictions. He was thoughtful, intellectual, deeply curious, a man who loved books and politics more than Hollywood parties. But he also struggled with alcohol and emotional turmoil. The same fire that fueled his performances sometimes consumed him behind the scenes, and no one knew what was coming next. By the late 1970s, Peppard's career began to crack under the weight of his battles. Opportunities slipped away, relationships strained. Hollywood, always quick to replace yesterday's star, slowly turned its back on him. Sophia watched from afar, saddened by the industry's indifference. She knew he had the talent to stand alongside giants like Brando and Newman, but he had never learned to bend, not even when bending might have saved him. Peppard died in 1994 at just 65. When Sophia heard the news, she felt a familiar ache, the ache of losing someone long before their time. She didn't cry right away. Instead, she remembered that quiet dinner in Los Angeles, the searching look in his eyes, the brilliance he carried like a weight, and she realized then that George Peppard had lived his entire life trying to prove something he never needed to prove. Now at 91, when asked what she would tell him if he were still alive, Sophia Loren smiled sadly. "I would tell him he was wonderful," she whispered, "that he didn't have to fight so hard, that his talent was enough." Her voice trembled, not with regret, but with compassion. Compassion for a man who never truly found peace in a world that demanded perfection from him. In her reflections, she didn't reveal a scandal or a secret romance. She revealed something far more powerful: humanity. Sophia Loren and George Peppard came from different worlds, shaped by different struggles, yet bound by the same fragile truth. Fame may grant glory, but it cannot soothe the wounds we carry privately, and sometimes, the people we admire most are the ones fighting the hardest battles behind closed doors.